With this being a new property, and especially time of year, it's now New Year's Eve 2024, the property is empty. Nobody's living here and nobody's not going to be living here for quite a while. One of the priority jobs is to drain all the water out of the pipes, all the pipes in the house, the tank, the cylinder, and everywhere. Turn the water off so there's no water in the property. The reason for that is, over the next few months when we're expecting cold patches, cold spells, with there being no heat in the house, then we've got two choices. We can either turn some heat on in the house, which currently we're doing, but it's costing us money, or we can just drain the pipes down. If we left water in the pipes, which so many people do, and turn the heating off, which so many people do with empty properties, if the water in the pipes gets cold and freezes, then what's going to happen is the water as it turns to ice, it expands in size, and then it'll find a weak spot in a pipe or a fitting or a joint somewhere, and then it causes a burst. Then when it warms up and the water thaws out, that's when you find out that you've had a leak, or you got a leak, you had a burst. So it's the water freezing and expanding that does the damage, because it's got nowhere to go, but you only find out about it when the water or the ice turns back to water, finds its way out, and causes a load of destruction. So to prevent that, we're going to drain everything down, turn everything off, and hopefully we won't have any kind of dramas like that. So I'll just run you through what equipment you would need to do a job like this, and then we'll go around and do it, and you can see how it's done. So first thing, we're going to need a hose pipe. This is mine that I use for draining down. It's got a Jubilee clip on here, so when I find a drain cock on a radiator or a drain point, then I can tighten it up. We won't have any problems in this house because it's not on mains pressure, but some places you do. So it's always best to get a Jubilee clip and tighten it over the drain cock, just to make sure. Set of water pump pliers, maybe need these. A large flat bladed screwdriver, that's to turn the screw on that. A radiator key, a bleed key, and then I use this, which is a better way of turning the drain cock screw and unplugging it. This is just a key with 4 different size and shape of keyways on it. So let's go and do it. So what you want to do is turn off your boiler or your heat source. This is a Rayburn. They're sort of common out in the sticks, but not really in built up areas. What it is a main oven, a smaller oven. I think one's used for baking in and one's used for roasting in. It's got a display on there, it tells you how hot it is. This one is the controls, the boiler and the cooker, and then that one's the ignition and all the gas gubbins. These operate as not just a cooking system, but a heating system as well, a way of heating your hot water up. They're really, really good, I think. This room is really, really warm at the minute, and it's just because of this. However, that's costing us in gas. So what we need to do is turn this off, turn the boiler off or whatever heat source you have, and to do that I'm going to go upstairs and turn the power off, and then I'm going to turn the gas off to it at the meter. I'm just going to turn all the gas off to the property. We don't need any gas for now. Second thing you want to do is turn off your water at the mains. So you can just see there is a stop tap. You can see the blue MDPE pipe coming into the property there, so we know that's a stop tap, or we can assume or presume. Turn it all the way to the right. And there should be now no water coming into the property. If you forget to do this, you could be draining your central heating system down and it's just refilling constantly depending on the type of setup you've got. So we'll come up and turn the tap on. It's usually hot on the left, cold on the right. Yes, they've got a little H and a C. So that should have a little bit of flow and then should hopefully stop. That's just draining down what's in the pipes. Or that stop tap isn't tight enough. in which case I'll just use a pair of water pump pliers and give it a tweak. It's been about a minute and it's still got a tiny bit of flow on it. It's just stopping now, which is surprising to me considering it's a bungalow. We haven't got much going on upstairs. It's a dormer bungalow. We've got 2 little en-suites. So all that was flowing for a minute was just what was in the pipe, surprisingly. However, it's off now. So that should hopefully be all the cold water in the system drained. What we're going to now do is leave that tap open so that if any water does make its way down and freezes and expands, it's got somewhere to go to, and then it won't cause a crack in any pipework. Now what we'll do is the hot water. Now we've got a cylinder upstairs, a hot water storage cylinder, so this is going to run and run and run until the cylinder is completely empty. So we'll leave that to do its job and we'll come back in a minute. But whilst we're down here, for the purpose of what we're doing, making the property safe while it's empty, just going to turn the gas valve off. So across the pipe is off, in line with the pipe is on. So turn that off and leave it off. That's the gas into the meter. There's no isolator out of the meter, never mind. So that's still running. Now what we'll go and do is find a radiator with a drain cock and get the hose pipe on. So the drain cocks are usually by a door and in downstairs rooms. There's no point draining an upstairs radiator with a drain cock. Nothing on that one. Nothing there. Nothing there. I can see what's going to happen here. There's not going to be one anywhere. Just might look. And nothing there. Or there. Yeah, we know what's going to happen here, don't we? Nothing there. Aha, drain cock. Right, so that's where we attach the hose pipe to, that bit there. And then either using a key, put it on there and open it when the hose pipe's on, or use a pair of water pump pliers or a pair of pliers. So I'm just going to grab the hose pipe and we will be back together in a sec. So there's the hose pipe all laid out outside. And connected to that drain cock there. I've tightened the Jubilee clip. A lot of people don't, but it's for the sake of buying a Jubilee clip for £1 or something. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially in a customer's house with white carpets or something like that. With the end of the hose pipe, you don't want to be near to the house where it's going to be walked in, any water that comes out. You don't want to be staining patios or anything. So find a drain if you can, or some soil or some of the garden, and drain it into that just so it doesn't cause any staining, because sometimes the water that comes out is really brown and yucky. So coming upstairs, we've got the central heating and hot water programmer there. Hot water's turned off, so it's never going to come on, and central heating is untimed, so it just comes on here and there and everywhere throughout the day and night just to keep a bit of warmth in. So we're going to use the select button, turn it off, so that's never going to come on again now. And then in this magic little cupboard is where all the bits and bobs are. Just grab my torch. So I'm pretty sure there, that fuse spur is going to do the ray burn and all the valves and controls and everything for the heating, so I'm going to turn it off. Program's gone off now, so we do know that that does that. There you go, that's on and that's off, just to make sure. So unless somebody comes in now and turns that on, or turns a programmer on, there's no heat coming to that ray burn and no damage going to be done. So we'll go down and drain down. Everything's off, no water, no gas, no electricity to anything. So we're not going to cause any damage now by emptying the system. So go onto there with this spanner, or you can use a pair of pliers. If you use a pair of pliers and you do it regularly, you tend to find that the square head gets rounded off over time. So try and avoid that if you can. This was from Screwfix in the UK, about £8, £10 I think. Undo that, and then you should hear the water flowing, which I can, you probably can't on the camera. See a bit of a drip there, that's because we've loosened it too much, so just go back and tighten it a bit more. In this case, I'm not really bothered if it drips because I'm ripping the carpets out soon. But if you're in your own home or a customer's home or something, then you don't want to be doing that. So we'll just go outside, and whilst we've got time, we'll check what's coming out. So you can see how brown and stained that is. That's because of, there's probably no solution in the system called inhibitor, which inhibits rust build up and metallic breakdown. All the radiators are made of metal. You've got copper pipes and you've got different things being introduced to the system depending on what kind of system you've got. Over time, the oxygen in the water corrodes the inside of the radiators, and the brown colour that you can see there is the rust. Now over time this will clog up the bottom of your radiators, the valves, your boiler, heat exchanger, and it will start causing damage. So if you have water like this, I'll film a video at some point explaining what to do, how to get rid of it and how to keep it gone, and how to prevent any rust build up in your radiator. If you don't have it, then give it a little sniff of the water that's coming out. If it smells slightly fishy, then the likelihood is that you've got corrosion inhibitor already in there and it's doing its job. When you refill the system, you need to put corrosion inhibitor back in, otherwise what I've just explained will start happening, and it could be costly. Whilst that's draining down, we're just coming back in and check. So this is the hot water still draining down. It's still running, so what I'm going to do is go into the bathroom, just open the tap there as well. Hot water tap, that is. So usually on the left, we'll open both anyway. Do the toilet to flush. And then what we're going to do, now everything's running nicely, is get our radiator key, go to an upstairs radiator and open up one of the bleed valves at the top. Don't know if you can hear that. It's the water trickling through the radiator and air coming into it. So, bleed valve there, I'm just going to open that and you should hear air hissing in or being sucked in. The reason we do this is because it's a sealed system, air can't get in, so water can't get out, it's a vacuum. If we go upstairs and open a valve, it'll let air in, and that way it's going to let water out downstairs a lot quicker. Everything's draining down nicely, the radiators are draining down as well. What I'm going to do once all this is done at some point is take all the radiators off, and these pipes here in each room, I'll cut them off and I'll weigh them in as scrap or reuse them somewhere. What we have to bear in mind, I don't really have to here because it's a refurb project and I don't mind getting a bit of dirty water everywhere because everything's been redone. We have to bear in mind though, if this is your house, that in other rooms, although we're draining down to here, in other rooms you've got these central heating drop pipes to each radiator. They are going to be still full of water. So I'll go around and explain what I mean. So you've got those pipes there going to this radiator in the hallway. You've got those pipes there going to this radiator, and because we haven't drained from this low point, these pipes here in each other room and the radiator have still got water in them. So if you're doing a project like this but you've got a nice clean carpet or a floor you don't want to get stained and ruined, you've got to be super careful. You've got to put a tray under each valve, you're going to have to put dust sheets down and stuff, And then what I also use is a wet vac, so a vacuum that can suck up water. Open the valves up tiny bit at a time and let the water that's in those pipes drain out. There is quite a bit, and if you've got a nice pristine white house, it does cause quite a bit of damage, so be super careful of that. That's the hot and cold water all drained down now. We're going to leave these taps open, so any water that is in there, remains in there, has somewhere to expand to if it does freeze up. The central heating's finished draining down now. So all that's empty, apart from obviously what's in those drop pipes which I've just explained. So now we're going to take the radiator off. Okay, so we're going to repeat the process that we've just done in reverse now. So what I did do off camera was open this bleed valve. What I'm going to do now is close it. The reason for that is there's still going to be a tiny bit of sludge in there. So always make sure you close these valves off, because when you take the radiator off, you want to take it off and turn it upside down so there's no open holes anywhere, and then you can take it out of the property without causing any damage. I'm going to remove this, loosen the Jubilee clip off, remove the hose pipe. What I always do is just tighten that back on again so it doesn't slide all the way down. It can be a pain if it does, next time you want to use it. Keep this end high, otherwise what water might be still in the pipe will drip back out on itself. I'll sort that out in a minute. So then we're going to need adjustable spanner and a pair of pliers. So I use the pliers to hold the valve still. If you're doing this on nice new shiny valves or valves that's still in your home, you don't want to grip the valves with pliers, because you'll scratch and put little marks on the valves. So we'll loosen that nut all the way off. Loosen this nut all the way off. What I'm also going to do is make sure this thermostatic valve head is tight onto the valve, and then I'm just going to turn it off. I'm also going to come to this one and turn it off. Close it, just so that whilst I'm not here, if anything does happen, if there's any water in there still, it won't come pouring out, because it tends to come glugging out on its own sometimes. What I'm going to also do is loosen these pipe clips and these. Again, if this is in your home and they're painted up, you're going to scuff them, so just be gentle. So now I've done that, there's going to be a bit of wiggle in the pipes. I'll try and get this radiator off in a minute. It's not going to be held in place by the pipes under tension. So that looks loose. That looks loose, you can see that leaking out now. Now the radiator hangs on two brackets at the back, so you've got to lift it up and then lift it vertically up and then take it out. When we take it out, what we're going to do then is flip it upside down. If it's any bigger than this, they do get quite heavy, so you're going to need somebody to help you. So lift it up and then flip it. When you're flipping it like that, well, you've just seen there, you tend to flick a bit of water out, so just be super careful of that if you're doing it on a white or a cream carpet, or well, any colour carpet that you're going to keep. Okay, so roll your hose pipe back up, keeping this end high, that end that's inside the house high, and we can roll it going out the house. As we're holding this high, it's going to force any water in the hose just out at the other end, and when you store it, it's not going to have water in. bit of blow. And then what I like to do before I store it away, wrap a bit of tape around just to hold it in shape, or cable ties, sorry, and then put it away in my bag. Job done. Okay, there's the radiator off and upside down. I'm just going to take it over now and store it outside. If you're getting rid of one, just put a message on Facebook to your local community group and a scrapman will appear within minutes and take it, or just leave it at the end of your driveway or something and they literally will go that same day. I'm going to keep all mine because I've got loads of waste, loads of scrap to weigh in eventually. Tend to store it all up because I've got the space, and then once a year or once every 6 months I'll take it and weigh it in. So easy to lift as long as it's not too wide. You can get your things in there and then lift it, carry it and get rid of it. And that is your central heating system drained down and the radiator removed.